Hey, this is the third installment of my buildings overview slash tutorial. Since last time I've upgraded my town hall to level 3, and I finished placing the 10 buildings that I was able to place from the town hall level 2. So now we're going to move on to the next group of buildings. The first one that is provided by the town hall level 3 is a farm, and the farm produces food which is used for your troops. Um, the farm benefits from the lake nodes and also from having no other resource nodes in the adjacent squares. So what you want is you're going to want your farms to be placed in by areas that have as many adjacent squares as possible, so you can get your maximum food production. These are sometimes harder to fit in with a general resource city such as your first or second city because you don't have a lot of room for these. These take up tons of room. As you progress later in the game, you will have cities that you dedicate to food and food alone that will produce 130,000 plus food an hour. But food is also a resource that you can go negative in if you recruit too many troops. And that means that instead of gaining food an hour, you end up losing food for every hour that the server runs. So this is something to watch too if you're building a self-feeding castle. Make sure that it is indeed self-feeding. That means you need to have at least a little bit more food income than what your troops eat. If you're not going to do a self-feeding castle, you're going to have at least uh, one food city for every like 2 or 3 castles. That way you can import all of the food in. For the second building, let's see here, unlocked at the Town Hall level 3 is a City Guard House. This is the first building in the game that allows you to recruit a unit. And the City Guard House, true to its name, recruits city guards. And these troops cannot leave your city. You can't send them to support any of your other cities or allies. You can't send them to raid dungeons, plunder your enemies, assault castles, anything. These are defensive units only. If you look at the stats, they are basic because they aren't better than any other unit. They have a base of 20 points, so this means that they defend against everything at 20. So this isn't ideal because they aren't good at any one thing, but they're the same at defending against everything, I guess. The only upside is that you can recruit these as long as you have resources. You aren't limited to the number of city guards you can recruit. Late game in high level palaces, you'll end up having millions of these troops that to serve as fodder for incoming assaults or sieges. But in your normal resource cities, I personally don't place city guard houses because it just takes up one more building that isn't going to be producing resources for me when I could be sending resources out to my other cities that need them or purifying them for research purposes. So I don't use it. Some people will put one in, recruit like maybe 100,000 guards, and then get rid of it and go from there. But I don't use these at all. But that's just my playing style. And the last thing we have from the Town Hall level 3 is a Ranger Tower. This is similar to the Lookout Tower, however, it doesn't give us an advantage of seeing incoming attacks sooner. With the Ranger Tower, it garrisons a Ranger unit, which we will talk about in the next video when we can actually recruit Rangers. But it is unlocked at this level because city guards can take the place of any unit for any tower. So whether it be ranger towers or guardian towers, templar towers, all the way to a ballista tower, if you don't have those units in your city, you can substitute those with if there are city guards. And what the tower does is it garrisons units when you're attacked, and it gives them an advantage in defensive power. And as you upgrade them, it increases the number of troops that you can garrison inside. So ideally, you don't want to have early game. You don't want to have too many more units than you're able to garrison, because otherwise you're putting them at risk of just dying. Later in the game, when you're being attacked with hundreds, yes, hundreds of thousands of troops, the towers help a lot, but it's not practical to have only the troops that fit in the towers. You're going to need a lot more. But for early game, try to have either enough towers or high enough level towers that you can fit all of your defensive troops inside of them. This concludes the third video for the Town Hall Level 3. I will be back sooner than I was this time, hopefully, with the next installment.